Hey, what's going on, guys? All in channel, host Sega Forever here, um, bringing you a brand new video. Please bear with me, man. I'm trying to get my stuff together really quickly. But I wanted to put this video out because I wanted to talk about E3 2021, specifically the Xbox Bethesda Showcase that will be happening in a couple of hours, at least by my time. And I might be able to watch it in the morning. I didn't think I was going to be able to watch the show. But what ended up happening was I was looking at it as being 10 a.m. But when I went to the YouTube channel, I went to the official YouTube channel of Xbox, set a reminder. It says that it's 7 a.m. my time. So I have to get up pretty early in the morning to watch it, and I kind of want to watch it because I'm not going to stream it. I'm not going to stream it and do commentary on it. But I do want to catch it live so that I can talk about it after, put all my thoughts together and stuff like that, and bring out another video, kind of a post show. This is kind of a pre-show. Just because, like I said, I wanted to get a video out for you guys, especially for my channel. I'm a Pro Xbox channel. It's been a really good year for Microsoft and Xbox specifically. So I definitely want to put more content out there, especially when it really matters. I was, all this day, it's a pretty crazy day. So that's why I'm kind of just trying to get this stuff out here. It's late at night. But it's getting later at night, man. For a lot of you guys, you're going to miss this video. So I don't expect a lot of views on it, which is fine. Kind of feel bad because I wanted to put this out a little earlier, man, because I was actually looking for content myself. And I was trying to get content from all areas of the industry, whether it's on social media or just the internet in general. And, just to kind of get my bearings and to see what was really going on. I've been keeping up with this stuff, but there was just like so much stuff that was coming out, dude, and I had other things to do as well. But, just wanted to collect my thoughts and put something up together, which basically was a waste of time because I'm just going to do this really quickly and then just focus on what I'm looking at, or looking forward to when it comes to the showcase that they'll be showing tomorrow. Now, this is just going to be my opinion and things that I want to see based on the stuff that I've heard already. I'm pretty excited. But the possibilities of what could happen tomorrow is also very exciting. But man, I should have did this video earlier because one of the things that was kind of irritating me when I was looking at all this content, man, was just how all over the place gamers in the gaming industry as well as Xbox fans are when it comes to this showcase that Microsoft's going to put on tomorrow. And I know a lot of it has to do with what Microsoft's been putting up with since 2013. A lot of you guys have been Xbox All In since 2013, know exactly what I'm talking about. A couple months ago, or about 2 months ago, they're already putting out articles. The gaming media was putting out articles about, Microsoft has something to prove in this E3. Microsoft has nothing to prove to anybody at this point. They've proved everything they needed to prove. All we can hope for now, man, is they just expand on all the good things that they've been doing over the last 4 years. Technically 5, but I'll go with 4 when I'm specifically talking about this E3 because, like I said, if you're a pro Xbox like I am, and if you're just a pro Xbox just because you're a consumer of their content as well as their product, right? You understand all the crap that Microsoft was getting. So for them to literally turn it around, and especially since last year, when people in the gaming media and people online started talking a little bit more positively about Microsoft, not by choice, they were forced to because Microsoft had made so many changes, and the changes that they were making were so huge that they had to recognize it. And of course, there were still detractors, right? And then Microsoft is doing they put in that work, they put in that blood, sweat, and tears to turn things around. So they forced their haters to acknowledge it. And the ones that are still hating on Microsoft and don't acknowledge it, now they look like total fanboys, which is awesome. And then, of course, you get all the pro Xbox guys coming out now. And I have no problem with people doing Xbox content. I think it's great for everybody. Like I told you guys, this channel, it's not about the subscription count for me or the views, man. It is just me being a cog in the machine. And I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. And if, as I see more people putting out more Xbox content, more positive content, and by positive, I'm not talking about, just carrying the water from Microsoft and Xbox. I'm talking about just positive and actually acknowledging all the stuff that Microsoft has done over, like I said, these last 4 years. So it's a good time. It's a good time to be an Xbox guy. And for those of you guys out there, like I said, I was getting irritated because, look, dude, if you're an Xbox guy like me and you've been putting up with this crap for so long, you know, be petty, right? Enjoy this moment, celebrate this moment. Um, we've earned it, and I see, especially these guys that are kind of more Johnny come latelys when it comes to Xbox, when things are bad, you never see them. Or when you do see them, they're actually praising other consoles and saying stuff like Microsoft should do what like Sony's doing or what Nintendo's doing. I don't want to hear all that kind of trash. Um, and then now these very same guys, when people just kind of puff their chest out a little bit, man, and want to enjoy, you know, the spoils of their victory, because whether they want to acknowledge this or not, dude, there is a live console war going on, and it's still going on. The only difference now is that if you're on the Xbox side, unlike 2013, unlike 2014, and then going into 2015, is that you have an arsenal now. And that arsenal is Game Pass, right? That arsenal is Microsoft flexing money. That arsenal is Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft, who gave a press conference and actually acknowledged that video games will play a big part, not just for Xbox and Microsoft games, but Microsoft proper. You know. So now you were fighting with sticks, stones, and swords. Now you guys got machine guns, man. Now you got bazookas. Now you got missiles. And as Game Pass continues to grow, as the content continues to grow, as the systems continue to get better and better, as Microsoft starts pushing out into other areas to reach more gamers out there, like that's what Phil Spencer's mantra is. This stuff's going to go nuclear. And I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping for that on a lot of different reasons, man. I'm hoping for that because Microsoft deserves it, number one, and number two, because Microsoft's literally the only company right now pushing the envelope. And that's not to say anything bad about the other companies in this industry, but right now Microsoft is the only one that's giving you stuff like Game Pass and backwards compatibility, upping the frame rates on games, being price point competitive. Actually looking out after the gamer. I did a video last night. Sorry that it was a bit long, where I talked about that. The same talking points for Microsoft. They actually believe this kind of stuff. So it's a combination of all these things that's the reason why I'm excited about the Xbox Bethesda E3 2021 showcase tomorrow. Now, for me personally, like I said, just enjoy the moment, guys. Enjoy it. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to all the haters. Don't listen to all the Johnny come latelys. Don't listen to all these guys that want to take the high road, man. If you want to be petty, be petty. Enjoy this moment. We deserve it. Okay. But looking at the showcase and what the possibilities are for tomorrow, look, dude, I would just be happy right now, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to be upset. I already know what Microsoft's going to do, but if the focus for me, being that it's Xbox 20-year anniversary, um, we're definitely going to get Halo. Now, you guys know if you've been on my channel for a amount of time, there's a couple of the IPs that Microsoft has, but Halo is the top one for me. I associate Halo with Microsoft. I associate Halo with Xbox. Um, Halo did a lot of first in this industry. I've mentioned this before. If it wasn't for Halo, you wouldn't be playing your Call of Duties, right? I'm old enough from a gaming of eons ago, man. During a period where people thought it laughable to actually have a shooter on a console because of the control mechanic, man. Everybody who plays it, was playing on PCs, keyboard and mouse. That was the standard. Then along comes Microsoft. They did Halo, and then somehow those guys figured it out. And because they figured that out, that became the standard, the blueprint for everybody else that's come along. No, I'm not saying that, people have done their own kind of thing with it, but, Halo was definitely the first. Um, and to me, Halo and Microsoft and Xbox are synonymous. That's how it is. And I'm just a big fan of Halo. That's the biggest thing for me as an Xbox fan is Halo. So it's good to have Halo back. Phil Spencer basically confirmed it in an off-the-cuff segment of an interview he did, or it could have been planned. It didn't look like it was planned, but I think it's called Simple Minds, but it's Justine and her sister. They did the interview with Phil Spencer, and it was really good. You guys should go check it out. Um, but he basically confirmed that Halo will be there tomorrow. And it sounded to me like when he was talking about it that it's going to be in a very mm, noticeable noticeable fashion. I mean, look, it's their most major title, and no shade being thrown to all the other products that Microsoft has, but Halo is it, right? And as a fan of not just the game, but the actual history and mythology, all the stories, all the behind the scenes stuff that Microsoft has done, um, and I hope they do that again. I really loved Halo 5. I love the story. I love Spartan Locke when they introduced it. I love how they expanded the universe, how they continued the story of Halo 4. Um, and the way that they did it, I thought was really smartly done. They introduced a lot of new elements to the Halo universe. So I don't know if Halo Infinite's going to do that. Um, but I'm looking forward to what they're going to present, man. And I hope that Microsoft does the same thing they did with Halo 5, where they did a lot of stuff that was out on the side. I've already got some books that I want to read too. It's interesting because I was going to start it off this week officially, but I'm going to wait until after all of this E3 craziness because I won't be able to focus on a lot of, I got a lot of stuff going on. And I want to give respect, to the lore of Halo when I, do my deep dive. And I haven't read everything when it comes to the Halo universe. That's why I'm going to do a lot of catching up, but um, I definitely going to have the time. And I hope they come up with more stuff, man. As I think it's good, not just for the fans, but the community as a whole. And it also shows once again that this is Microsoft's baby. This is their big gun, and I'm going to be enjoying every single minute of it. So looking forward to that Halo announcements, whatever they show. Um, the second thing that I hope that they show tomorrow, again, in the title, Xbox Bethesda E3 2021. Right, and on the Xbox side, definitely Fable. I want to see some new information on Fable. I'd love to see some. I'd love to see some gameplay. I'd take another trailer. And like everybody was giving Microsoft hate last year about them just showing trailers. Whatever. Because if Microsoft didn't show anything, then they would have hated on Microsoft for that. If Microsoft would have showed gameplay, look what happened to Halo Infinite. Microsoft just can't win. So for me, as a fan, and especially as a fan of the Fable franchise, I'll put Fable right next to, or it's come second to Halo for me. But we haven't had Fable. I liked Fable Legends, the game that they were coming out with when Xbox first came out, Xbox One first launched. I think it was like 2013, 2014 that they were gonna, or 2014, 2015. Or was it 2013? I think it was like 2014 they were gonna come out with a full-fledged game. We got like a demo thing that people could play. I actually liked what they were trying to do. I absolutely love the characters because I love the Fable world, right? I love the witty, the humor, the look of the characters, the look of the world. It definitely has a distinctive art style that's kind of like old school. Um, I want to say Renaissance, but it beckons to like that old school fantasy, um, based on a little bit of realism, with the way that they present, with the way that they present the world and the gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. Um, Oh man, it just irked me, man, that thing was getting hate because of all what people were saying about the pay for play stuff, which you didn't have to do. And one of the great things about Microsoft or Xbox is what they do when they get like when people come at them like that, dude, they'll make their changes. Like they did that with Rise Son of Rome. I remember when Rise Son of Rome, there was a problem with the store and people were playing the game to this day, hardcore guys like me, and you weren't getting your gold. And then Microsoft felt bad about that. People complained about it, but look, hardly anybody was playing it at the time. This is before it hit Game Pass, right? And it was getting cheaper. People were coming in, but it was basically just the hardcore guys playing it, man. And then Microsoft went in and they just opened up the coffers and allowed you to take as much money as you can. So literally, you could unlock everything because you could get enough gold, right, in your coffers to buy every single item instead of leveling it up because they were having a problem. And I think it took them maybe over a week to fix it. So they opened up the gold coffers, man. You could go in and just take as much money as you wanted to. You'd have to go like through a little process over and over again, but basically, dude, you just got as much money as you wanted, and now you can unlock everything. I thought that was cool of them to do that. Um, but yeah, dude, it's such a shame, man, because I thought that game had potential, especially when you look at, um, but Microsoft never gets credit for this kind of stuff, dude. They're very forward thinking. And with Fable Legends, right? Fable Legends? It's been a while, sorry. But with Fable Legends, it was just forward thinking on their part, man. Because look at the games you have now, like Fortnite, um, and, it's like PUBG, and all these kind of games, Overwatch, right? So Microsoft was a little bit ahead of their time when it came to this stuff. And but because it was Microsoft, and it's because they're coming off of E3 2013, and it's because I'll just be honest, the Sony fanboys are the worst, and the gaming media are absolute pricks, especially in those early years of this new generation, the current generation we are in, which is the new generation in 2013. Um, it was horrible, man. And, the amount of franchises that these pricks killed that we could have had, and I'm talking about Titanfall, right? I'm talking about Rise, Son of Rome. I'm talking about Sunset Overdrive. To some extent, the Dead series that we have, the zombie series, um, and of course Fable Legends, stuff like that. Because it's easy, it's all fun and games now to kind of appreciate what Microsoft did and continues to, or Microsoft is doing now, as opposed to what they did before, which they should have got praised for. Man, they have probably one of the best launch lineups to ever grace a console. The fact that you're getting games day one is an amazing thing to me, right? And they never got credit for that, man. And they also got unwarranted amounts of hate, which again, you know, killed a lot of these franchises. And so I'm looking forward to Fable Legends. It looks like it's, or not Fable, I'm looking forward to the new Fable game. It looks to be a proper Fable game so that people can't hate on it. They'll hate on it. There's people that are going to hate on it. Um, but not in the way that they could back in 2013. And I'm really looking forward to that because that's my number two. Number three, definitely looking for Forza, whether it be Forza proper or Forza Horizon, which of course the rumor is Forza Horizon is going to take place in Mexico. I would have preferred Japan, but I'll definitely take Mexico. I know Microsoft is trying to expand into Mexico, at least with the Xbox, well, with all their brands, but especially the Xbox brand. And man, I ain't gonna lie, dude, the fans in the Xbox fans in Mexico, man, they're hardcore. Dude, I give them credit, man. When I saw that one showcase Microsoft did, and they were in Mexico, man, those guys were just, dude, just the joy, just seeing how happy they were, man, and how pumped they were to have Microsoft there and the Xbox there, man, and their Xbox gamers. It just made me realize like how spoiled we are here in the States sometimes, not appreciating, what we have. And that was a good lesson, man. I love seeing it, dude, because it just reminded me, man, what it's all about. Dude. It's all about games. It's all about fandom. It's all about, enjoying what you do, man. I mean, if you don't enjoy your games, man, why do you even play? I mean, it just blows my mind, dude. That's why I don't need people to be Xbox people, man. I prefer people to be Xbox people that actually like Xbox. Right? Not to get views on your channel, whether good or bad, talking trash or throwing platitudes, mostly talking trash, though. But yeah, man, I mean, when I heard that, I was like, of course, Mexico, man, it's huge. It's a huge country, and you guys know how Forza Horizon does it. Um, they take the best of what especially when it comes to the geography of a country, man, they take the best of what it has to offer, and they just showcase it. And then with the power of the Series X, man, I can just imagine how good Mexico's going to look from that background. See, when I play Forza Horizon, man, I do the challenges when I feel like it. But to be honest with you, man, I just crank on the radio and I just drive around. That's all I do. That's why I never like really finish the games. I mean, I'm not a big achievement person. Like I said, I'll get achievements. That's fine. Um, Not a big finisher of stuff because a lot of the games I play, they're more multiplayer now. Like they're more get out type of games. Uh, a lot of shooters and stuff like that. But with Forza Horizon, man, it's always been cool. Just what they've done again with the geography for every country that they've been in the game. You feel you're actually there, man. And sometimes, man, when I come home from work, what I'll do, I just want to jump on that game and just cruise around, look at the scenery, watch the sunrise in the morning. Going throughout the day, whether it's rain, snow, doesn't matter, and then watching a beautiful sunset, then hitting the big city when all the lights are off, and then just listening to my radio, man. On my YouTube channel, dude, I have like a playlist that I created just based off of Forza. And the majority of that music is off of Forza games, but it's also music um, that I've added to that list because I feel like it would be, it goes with the gameplay experience when you're on Forza Horizon. And the only sad thing about it is, you could before download that playlist and play it on your radio, but I don't, you couldn't do it after the last one, and which I thought was pretty sad. But I like the fact that they do have pretty good soundtracks. Because that's all I do, man. I'll drive around and just enjoy the countryside, or just rip through the city, or just be flying off the mountains, crazy Forza is. But that is my next big thing, to see what Turn 10 is doing with their Forza stuff. And I should have wrote that down. There's a couple other things I was thinking about. But then again, I think it's just speculation what Xbox could be doing or not doing. Um, but those are my big three. That's what I'm looking forward to. Um, because, like I said, it is their 20th anniversary, and they need to, you know, I like what Microsoft's been doing, and I like what Xbox has been doing. And I mentioned both of them, dude, because it is a tandem effort, right? Even though Xbox is the gaming division. Um, but I like what they've been doing. I really do. And they've taken steps that are basically thinking outside the box. I acknowledge that. They've done things that people didn't expect, which has been really good. Threw a lot of people off, including someone like me who's a fan. Um, and I think that's great that they did that. They needed to do that. Um, I've always said this, man, is basically the last 5 years. They just basically took whatever praise, whatever complaints, whatever they needed to do to help make people happy or not make people mad. They basically took everything that they got, took it off, mixed it up, and just threw it up on the wall. And if that didn't work, they mixed it up again and kept on throwing it up on the wall. They basically kept on doing that until one, the haters couldn't bitch and moan anymore, and two, the people actually who care and want the system to do better was actually happy. So they covered all their bases, is what I'm basically trying to say. Right? But right now, since it's their 20th anniversary, man, it's time for them to get back to basics, and that begins with Halo, hopefully Fable. Maybe we'll get some news on Gears. I don't know. But Gears has just been killing it anyway. Um, and then Forza, Proper and Horizons. I'd like to see both. See what Turn 10's been doing. Now, with that being said, you know that Microsoft also has picked up a lot of other studios. Um, and even though that's probably not, I mean, if I don't get anything from those studios, I won't be disappointed. But because, again, this is their 20th anniversary and this is an Xbox showcase, I think it would behoove them to show something from each of these studios. And I'm not talking about the acquisition from the Bethesda, because as it says in the title, it's Xbox and Bethesda, E3 2021. So I'm pretty sure Bethesda's got their own little thing that they're going to have. Um, but I like to see something from Xbox, at least the studios that they purchased before ZeniMax Online. I mean, there's been studios that have been working on a lot of different things. And so, like I said, I'm not going to cry or be upset like some of these guys are already complaining about, what's going to be there, what's not going to be there. But I think it would be the proper thing to do if you at least get, even if it's a trailer or if an update, man, if they get like, Larry Herb interviews one of the developers just to show what they're doing, just to keep everybody up on the know. Like for example, Senua Sacrifice, right? There's people that are saying, if I don't get gameplay, man, I'm going to be so disappointed. I don't care. I just want to know, right? It's their moment to show. They paid money for all these people, dude, right? I mean, it's let them step into the spotlight. One of the things I liked about the Bethesda, when Microsoft, excuse me, when Xbox officially and Bethesda officially got together, and this was the second time they had a little get together, and they showed everything. They made it official that actually Bethesda falls under, ZeniMax Games falls under Microsoft. Right? Then they had this like little powwow, which was actually pretty cool. And then they went to Bethesda and they went to this like little history moment with Bethesda, and then they showed all the studios. And I thought that was awesome. And that's what I want to see Xbox do more. If I had my wish, that's one of the things I want to see. Again, I don't need it to be like gameplay or like a 10-minute trailer. Right? Just give me something, and I'll take CG. I don't care. I'll take an interview, man. I'll just like one of the guys pops up, says, "Look, this is what we're doing. This is where we are. We're glad to be a part of the team. Further, more to come at the next showcase, whatever." I'll even take that. But I think it's important to them that they parade these guys out there in whatever shape, form, and fashion, just to remind everybody that, look, this is who we are. This is what we have. You guys was complaining we didn't have studios. We bought studios. You're complaining we don't have games. This is what's coming out. Oh, you don't like that? And here's the next point. Oh, you don't like that we're not showing you guys gameplay? Well, here, this is what's coming to Game Pass, and boom, then they give you some third-party stuff because that's the other thing that they've been doing. So Microsoft has been doing all this kind of stuff, giving everybody, everybody ammunition, man, because of all the haters out there, dude, just to shut people down. And it's not that they're doing it that way. You know, Microsoft is all this kumbaya stuff. They are. They're all about what the rest of us are over here stuck in the mud in the mire of this console war, this stupid console war that we're supposed to be in, which is changing though, which is great. We get beyond this, man, and we can focus on what really matters, man. It's on the tech, on the games, pushing the industry forward, and that's what Microsoft is doing. So so I'll tie it into my next point, which is I'd like to see a little bit more third-party stuff tomorrow. I think that would be cool. Um, a lot of people have been talking about Microsoft purchasing and acquisitions. Um, I would like to see that as well. But if you can't get the purchasing acquisitions, at least maybe get some more partnerships. Um, and off the top of my head, dude, I don't know. I don't know who they could deal with as far as the third party partnerships. But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of content coming out. There's a couple shows that were shown. What was it earlier today? It's Saturday, right? Yeah, earlier today. I watched a little bit of the Ubisoft stuff. I mean, they had some cool stuff, but it was a little bit boring for me. And it's nothing against Ubisoft, man. Look up, and then I watched the Jeff Keighley thing. That was okay for me. But it's more to do with me than it is to do with them. And the reason why it's not interesting to me is because I'm Xbox all in, right? Xbox is my ecosystem. This is where I enjoy my games. This is where I enjoy my games and my services is all on Xbox. So a lot of the stuff was multi-console, multi-platform. Hey, and it was cool, man. Some of the stuff they showed, a lot of you guys who own other consoles, man, you guys should be happy. I hope, and you guys should be so happy that you guys shouldn't be coming over to this, like my channel, like mine, when I do something like this, and they write in the comments how my console sucks. Dude, there's something for everybody out there now, man. So you guys can go play consoles, enjoy. On the Sony side, especially, dude, look at some of these AAA stuff you guys are getting, right? I mean, you guys should be happy. Don't For some reason, you guys were wearing what Xbox is always doing. But go play your games, man. You guys got those AAA exclusives. Um, that's why I love Nintendo guys, dude, because I don't ever hear anything out of Nintendo. Dude, even Amazon was putting stuff up, which I thought, I mean, they sponsored the show, right? Prime Gaming and stuff like that for Jeff Keighley stuff. Man, and that's another thing, dude. I just can't stand Jeff Keighley, man. That dude's such a whole. I mean, I can't stand him, dude. He's such a big fanboy as well. Um, But I mean, I give them credit, dude. Production value off the charts. A lot, what cracks me up, man, was Microsoft. And in 2013, man, Microsoft was getting all this kind of crap about being the all-in-one box. And this whole weekend, man, every conference was basically all-in-one content, right? Jeff Keighley was showing like soundtracks from these games, which is cool. I have no problem with that, dude. Like I said, man, this channel, I'm a pop culture channel. That's why it used to be all in Xbox. Now it's all in channel because I want to do content on here that's beyond Xbox, right? I'm going to be talking more about pop culture stuff. I'm going to be talking more about politics, which a lot of you guys won't like, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, that was just kind of a little bit slower to me because I'm not a multi-console guy anymore. I gave that up in 2013, dude. I've been sticking with Xbox, so a lot of that stuff won't apply to me, unless of course it's in Game Pass, which will piss everybody off, which I'll be happy about. MLB the Show, right? So what else? Which was the other one that came out? Ubisoft was it was okay too. I'm kind of getting tired of the Assassin's Creed stuff, personally. One kind of cool thing that I did see them doing, because I know that they're getting flack on it. It's a problem I have with Assassin's Creed myself, man. It's the way they present the history of it. And then of course now it's almost, it's kind of cool that they have Vikings, but they're like taking that brand and they're expanding it into these other mythologies, into these other histories and stories, and basically, yeah, it's getting a little bit tiring for me. That's the nice way for me to put it. But I did see something kind of cool when they were doing the Viking stuff. They're actually going to do a historic timeline kind of thing, which I think is cool. That might be interesting. I still haven't picked that up yet. It's I just can't equate, man, the Assassin's Creed thing into the Viking universe, man. I mean, I love Norwegian culture. So it's hard for me to kind of suspend that belief a little bit. And look, if you love the game, I'm not saying don't play it, man. It looks like an awesome game. Enjoy yourself, knock yourselves out. But there was this other game that came out, but I don't think it was Ubisoft. I think it was, what did they name? Did they have to do Borderlands 3? Man, dude, I'm tired. It's kind of late. I had a long day. Jacked up my elbow again. What is the name of it? Anyway, Gearbox. So Gearbox, I thought their presentation was really cool, man. They tried to be a little tongue in cheek. They tried to come out a little bit smarter than what they actually are. But I thought they did a good job and pulled it off, man. A little bit of dry humor, a little bit of that wit. You know, kind of a little touch of that British wit, which I love. Um, oh, sorry, I got a message, guys. Okay, so but they had a, I think it was them. I want to say it was them, and they had what was the name of this? Man, I'm trying to think of. I can't think of the name of it, but it's basically a Viking game, right? And then you're gonna be, and it's about Vikings, right? But it's more on the fantastical side, right? Mythological side of their culture. And it looked like you'd be building up. I don't know. It reminded me a lot of the game I'm playing right now, Dragon Quest Builders Online, or Dragon Quest Builders 2, where you're actually in that universe and stuff like that. But you do a lot of stuff like you're trying to grow your civilization, so you got to do a lot of. Looks like you have to do a lot of farming, collecting materials and stuff like that. But at the same time, dude, you're actually battling and then creating stuff. And I like those type of games. Like it kind of looks like a sim game, like an action type of sim game. And that's probably the game that stuck out to me the most. And then of course the Tina's World or whatever Legends, which to me looks interesting because it looks like it's taking Borderlands, but they're adding what do you call it? Dude, I losing it right now. Uh, Fantasy. Jeez, they're adding a fantasy element to it. So it looks like they're going to have guns and stuff like that, but it looks like they're going to have medieval weapons as well and spellcasting. So I thought that was really cool. I mean, it was a short trailer. Love the look of the trailer. In fact, they cut some really good trailers and stuff like that. But I definitely want my daughter to check that out because my daughter definitely loves Borderlands. It's interesting what your kids end up playing if they become gamers like you. Um, I mean, I know my kids aren't hardcore, but they do play games since it's so acceptable now. But I never really pictured my daughter. She'd been playing. She got into what is it called? It's Dying Light. She absolutely loved that game. She constantly played it. And from Dying Light, she jumped to Bioshock. She finished all of those games. Um, and she got it, man. There's a lot of that stuff, but there's layers to Bioshock. There's a lot of that Iron Randy stuff and all that kind of thing. So when she was playing it, she was picking up on it, which I was pretty proud of. And then she went from there. She jumped into Fallout. And then she played other stuff here and there, man. She's dabbled in other games and stuff like that. And of course, but I mean, the one game she always plays is Pokemon. So she's still my baby. And I guess that'll never change as far as her gameplay things. And that's the only reason she has to switch. That and then she loves Zelda. She'll play Zelda. She didn't like the top-down one though, which I was kind of surprised because I thought that was good, but I'm old. Um, yeah, dude, but it just blew my mind. A lot of these conferences, man, all the crap that Microsoft was getting, right? Even to this day, man, I've watched a couple of some of these editors from these magazines. Like I'm saying, for the last couple of months, man, I'm just trying to absorb all this kind of stuff so that I can form a little better idea of what people are thinking about, not just getting stuff secondhand, which a lot of people do, especially in politics, right? So what I've been trying to do is just trying to absorb all this kind of stuff, man. And there's like people, gaming media today, man, that won't even acknowledge what they did in 2013. Right? In fact, a lot of them were like, Microsoft lost touch in 2013. Then they talk about the showcases today, and they don't make that connection of Microsoft basically was just heralding what everybody in the industry was at that time. And for some reason, in 2013, man, all the Sony fanboys, probably because they're getting their butts whooped in the 360 PlayStation 3 era, um, because the 360 was the more popular console at the time. And it's almost like it was a concerted effort between their fanboys and then all the gaming media to kind of change that narrative, which they did. Right, and everybody else just fell alongside. That's why a lot of these guys are scratching their head now, because Microsoft actually pivoted and changed. And not only did they change, Microsoft brought all this goodness with them. Your game passes, your subscription services, everything I mentioned earlier, Microsoft has done it, right? And when Sony just kept on playing the same game over and over again, you know, and then like I like to tell people, man, the problem with Sony is that it's 2021 and they still think they're in the 90s, with the way they do things. And that could change, man. I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, number one, for a lot of the people that want Sony to change, dude, it took Microsoft years to do this kind of stuff, and it'll take it will take Sony a decade to do it. And I'm not trying to be a prick about it, man. But let's be honest. One of the reasons why Microsoft could do it is because they were in a position to do it, and they have money. Right? The two things that they needed the most, they had, and Sony's not in that same position. Right? That's why I don't know why it blows my mind how everybody wants Sony to do all this kind of stuff that Microsoft is doing when they never talked about it. And the only reason they're saying that now is because Microsoft is actually changing the game, literally changing everything. And now, because Microsoft's changing it, right, and then people are realizing all this good stuff that Microsoft's doing, and it just shows, Sony in a worse light right now. In fact, a lot of people have been jumping on Phil Spencer, man, for throwing shade at Sony. Which again, I said this in my video last night, man. He didn't throw any shade. He didn't throw any shade to Sony, man. He was just being himself. He was just being honest. He was just telling it the way it is, man. And I don't think it was just pointed at Sony for that kind of stuff. I mean, you can make the correlation, definitely. I'm not saying you can't, right? But he's talking about the industry as a whole. If you guys don't see what Phil Spencer's been doing, man, like that interview that he did in 2015, he's looking at a bigger picture. It's not just Sony that he's looking at. He's looking at the entire industry to do this, man. Just listen to his interviews, man. If you think this dude's got any type of ulterior motive with this kind of stuff, I mean, you don't know this. You don't know this guy. I mean, everything he talks about is just pushing forward. Inclusivity, everybody can game, where no matter where you are, no matter if you have disability, no matter if you're gay, no matter if you're, whatever your little thing is that could cause you not to be accepted, or whatever thing is that will cause you not to be able for you to play your games. Maybe you're limited by money. He talked about that earlier today. Maybe your internet, maybe you're limited because you can't get an Xbox where you're at. Maybe they don't have the infrastructure in your company, but guess what? You have a cell phone, right? That's what they're thinking. They're looking big picture, man. They don't trust me. We know, man. All of us in the Xbox guys that have been fighting this battle since 2013, we know this, man. We're down here in the trenches, man. These dudes are up on like Mount Olympus. Like we're the Spartans on the ground, dealing with the hordes, man. It's just like in 300, man. We're the Spartans. We just have our little company right there, and we're just taking on all these hordes of PlayStation fanboys that just keep coming in waves and waves and waves, man, and we're just standing there taking it. And meanwhile, like, Phil and all them are up there on Mount Olympus, man, looking at the bigger picture. While the rest are down here, in the trenches, like I like to say. But yeah, it's just not his style, dude. And when he says stuff like that, he's saying it from a perspective of this is where he wants the industry to go. And there's copious amount of evidence that you can look at online if you take the time to do so, by googling Phil Spencer and reading the interviews online, and then listening to some of the interviews that they have, whether it's on YouTube, Google. It doesn't matter. You just do the research yourself. Trust me, man. I'm an Xbox guy. That's what I do. I've seen it myself. And I posted for you guys, but screw that. You guys don't be lazy, man. Do your own work. I'm tired of sharing stuff with people. And a lot of times they don't care, that they don't want the knowledge. They just want ammunition, or they just want to fight, or they just want to argue. And I gave that up in 2016, so I'm tired of that. Turned over a new leaf. Plus, as my grandma, as the good book says, man, throwing pearls are swine. I'm not going to waste my time. Instead of wasting my time arguing over stuff, I could be leveling up in all my games that I have. I was just sitting upstairs, downloaded a couple more for Game Pass that I want to play. But I wanted to get this video out. Yeah, so hopefully they'll do that, and then I would like to see like a sizzle reel or something from Game Pass. I'd love to see a sizzle reel for ID and Xbox. Hopefully they got some new stuff, but I'll take whatever they have. There's some great stuff coming out on Game Pass. There's some great stuff coming on ID and Xbox, and there's going to be a merger too, right? All the good content at ID and Xbox, some of that stuff's going to be coming to Game Pass day one, which is what Microsoft needs to do. Like I said in my other video, they need content. And again, the balance being is the content, the quality of the content, right? But variety also plays a big part of that, and Microsoft definitely has the variety now. They're definitely genre helpers. I like to hear about a family plan tomorrow. As far as the services are concerned, that's one of the main things I like to hear, because I like to attach, like how we did it before on the Xbox. It was on the 360, right? Where we had the family plan, so I don't have to constantly pay for my children as well, and then and it would behoove them to do that. It would behoove Microsoft to do that, because they're going to get more money. Because whatever money that I save I'm not paying for other subscriptions. I'm just going to dump it right back into Xbox and gaming, and not just the gaming. Dude, I buy the movies. You know, I do a lot more Voodoo. It just depends on what the movies are. The majority of my anime stuff, dude, is on Xbox. I own seasons of. I just bought the last anime month sale that they had. An anime month sale that they had. I purchased Demon Slayers both seasons. I purchased man, I purchased RWBY. Love that anime. I picked in all the seasons up there because they're affordable as well. But I dropped like over $100 in purchases. Picked up a couple. I picked up the solo anime that I like. That was awesome. I picked up all the seasons for that because this is stuff I just don't. Did I pick up Food Wars? Did they have Food Wars on sale? I can't remember because I love Food Wars as well. Because the content like that, dude, I constantly watch it. And again, with the ecosystem, with the cloud, it's kind of cool to be able to watch it on my various devices throughout my house, which I think is super cool. Like this new computer I'm using to do this video. You know what I should have done? I should have done this on StreamYard. That would have been, yeah, that would have been better. Should have done it on StreamYard. It's probably going to take $5 for this video today. Yeah, so I'd like to see something with a family plan. Hardware, I think they might come out with some streaming devices. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if that's going to happen. That'd be kind of cool though. It'd be kind of cool for them to give out some information about the business meeting that they had. I mean, some stuff was leaked. There were people that were there that gave basically an edited view of all the information that's put out there, and it's really good too. So maybe they'll do that. And then continuing on, Bethesda, man. Since Microsoft picked up Bethesda, 7.5 billion, what they said before. That's a lot of money, right, that they paid for Bethesda. And since it's the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase, and because Bethesda doesn't have its own showcase, which, to be honest with you, I wish Xbox would do one, and then I wish Bethesda would still do their own. Before I get into that, so the acquisitions, Sega. Sega, definitely. Um, look, dude, I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'm a big conspiracy theorist, and I'm a huge Sega fan. This is why when people call me an Xbox, I don't get mad. When people call me a shill for Microsoft, I don't get upset. Because I'm not. If I've shilled for only one company, one gaming company in my life, and it's Sega. And I kind of continue to do that to this day. Um, but merging the two, I think would be beneficial for both. I've said this in other videos. I'll just recap it real quickly here. Sega brings a lot of content. Game Pass needs a lot of content. You take a lot of that stuff, you put it into Game Pass, and it expands the variety automatically in one snap. Basically, like how they did with Bethesda. Bethesda in one snap cleared out their single player issue and their AAA title issue and their studio issue. Okay, with Sega, you kind of get it's kind of like that with Sega, maybe not on that level, but you get a lot of a little bit. You might get a little sprinkle Sega, but you're going to get a lot of those little sprinkles. Right? Because Bethesda, Sega has history. They have pedigree now. They've been in this industry. They've basically helped build this industry. Um, and any Sega fan will tell you that they definitely have pedigree. And by adding Sega to their, how can I put this, as a partner, well, I guess they would own it. I guess they would have ZeniMax on. Well, hopefully I'll treat Sega more of a partner because Sega just has a lot of content that they could utilize. A lot of us for Game Pass, like a lot of us in the Streets of Rage 4. I seen I messed up. I didn't buy what's it, Toki? But a lot of these older games, what they're doing is they're bringing them back, like Ghost and Goblins or Ghost and Ghouls. Ghost and Ghouls, they're bringing it back. They're just giving it, adding more levels, adding more game mechanics, giving it new fresh paint. Um, and then rewrapping it and putting it out there for everybody, for fans of the game. If you pick up a company like Sega, man, those possibilities are endless, man. Because Sega has so much content, and then some of it will be hard. Like I'm a huge Dreamcast fan, I'm a huge Saturn fan. Because of the rights and stuff like that, I know for some of those games they will be hard. But if anybody could pull it off, it would be Microsoft. Um, and also, as a Sega fan, man, and the way gaming was back then, a lot of people slept on the Stardust, man. There's a lot of good stuff. that they could bring to it. And there's a lot of good stuff that they could bring, that not only has a cult type of appeal, um, but it also has the ability to be refurbished and put out as new content. Right? And it'll be cost effective, and you're getting the best of both worlds, man, if you do this. If you pick up a company and save it. I know people have been talking about WB. I'm fine with that. In my video last night, people were like, "Well, how many companies are they going to buy?" And I was being a little bit facetious in what I said. Maybe they'll buy, 3. Maybe they'll buy 10. Oh, they could buy 100. And if they wanted to, and I said, look, the goal of that, like I said, I was being a little facetious, but the goal of that is just to say that they just need the content. Right? So they don't necessarily have to buy everybody. Right? They could just work on deals with these guys that they have been doing. Um, but they do need studios, man. My boy Heba, the world's most powerful gamer, did a great. He did a great video, man. It was kind of scorched earth thing, talking about the media, and he went on an epic rant on the Exile podcast talking about this, and I love that. I've listened to that thing like so many times. The podcast like 1 or 2 times, but definitely Hebot's just constant. Like it's I just had that thing on replay. But he makes some valid points, right? And then Microsoft is addressing those points. And when Microsoft, basically when Microsoft helps these companies, and then these companies want to take their game and take it elsewhere. And the thing that upsets me about that is the same thing Hebot was saying. Well, Hebot was saying, I'll say it a little bit differently, because I don't want to mince his words. Go watch his video. He deserves a follow. But for me, I agree with him is what he's saying. But for more so, it's just kind of that they, like he was talking about more of the loyalty thing, but just the fact that they don't know, just the fact that they didn't know, man, and they're in the industry, and that's their product, and they're um, actually create content for video games in the video for the video game industry, and they didn't know how bad and toxic a lot of this stuff is on the other side, you know. So it's kind of disappointing to me that they didn't have their finger on the pulse. Um, but man, no hate, dude. If that's their property, that's what they want to do. Um, I think it's kind of shameless, right? Dude, if you did that, though, I mean, I will agree with my Xbox brethren that feel this way, man. I think they should have been a little bit more loyal. But lesson learned, man. And then the thing about it is, with Phil Spencer, you know, lesson learned. He'll move on. He'll be better. And then you drop $7.4 billion on a company like Cinemax Online. It's crazy. Uh, but he's learned his lesson, dude. They're going to come up with content. So again, buy as many studios as you need. So look, when I say that, dude, I mean, look, they'll dot the I's and cross the T's, man. They're just not just throwing money all over the place. Like in the case of Bethesda, dude, they've had a long working relationship with that company. It's just not something that they did on the fly. They knew these guys. They worked together. And on the flip side, with the content that Bethesda comes out with, and also for Microsoft on their part, you know, if anything that made sense, it would be these guys, right, that coming together. So I'm not saying that Microsoft's just going to go out there and just start dropping cash. They might, but they're smart enough. They know what they're doing. They didn't build this whole thing just to get ridiculous at this point in time. But I like to see them Sega, WB, Konami, whatever. Dude, as long as you can get your hands on that property and just keep on expanding and growing Game Pass and growing your portfolio. I still like to use that word all the time. They already have ID at Xbox, which has been a great boon for them. It's kind of funny because I see Sony kind of pushing that right now with their independent games, which they've forgotten for the last 6 years. Oh wait, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, I'll give them 6 years. So, these because if the narrative switched to AAA bangers. Well, first it was indie game. No, first it was price, right? Then it was power and power slash indies, no games, and then it switched to AAA. Right? That was the whole thing. And now they basically painted themselves into the corner because Xbox got everything. Well, okay, so they don't have the AAA value, and I did a video on that as well. I think it's all BS. Personally, there's just talking points and ammunition for this console. Yeah, so they got the idea of Xbox on lock, dude. I talked about this before. I like to see them pull up some of these guys. I like to see them buy some of these small companies because I've been playing their games and I've been really impressed, man. If Microsoft can get behind them and then make them a studio and grow them from the ground up, I think that'd be awesome. They've already done it already with a couple other studios and it's been working out. And then with the third party stuff, man, I hope that they continue to do that. You know, there was a game of the Ubisoft. Oh yeah, so this is the one game that I loved on the Ubisoft game. It was like this extreme sports game. And as I was watching it, dude, all I could think of was Forza Horizon. It was basically like extreme sports Forza Horizon stuff. And I'm not hating on the game. I'm not knocking on the game. I thought it was really cool. In fact, I'm looking at it, I was like, well, if there's one game I'm gonna buy from Ubisoft, this is probably gonna be the one. And then that Rainbow Six one that they did, I was kind of interested. I know it's been getting a lot of like people are like lukewarm on it and kind of cold on that game. I found it kind of interesting, but I like shooters, so that's something. Those are the two games that kind of stuck out to me, but especially that extreme sports one. Right? And with the way Microsoft has been doing stuff with Outriders, with Second Extinction, um, Dragon Quest, Octopath, right? They've been getting all these games that are people like it piques people's interest, or they're interested in it, or they're definitely going to buy it. It's on that level, and then they drop it in Game Pass, and a bunch of people download it and they end up buying it. That's one of the games I would actually play. That game is way too Game Pass. In fact, I was sitting there going, man, dude, how can Microsoft, Forza, like the guys who do Horizon, man, they should have thought about something like that. Because it has all the trappings of Horizon. And just the variety of a lot of the different games you can see. One of the stuff that I thought was cool because I watch it on YouTube, right? These guys that ride these mountains. Something that I've never do. They're on their bikes, like thousands of feet up in the air. If they just slip one way or the other, they're dead. Right? And they're like going down these bike trails that are nuts, or creating these bike trails off of these steep mountains. And then they showed it. There's a little clip of it in this game. If they have that, dude, I'd buy it just for that. Because I think that's cool. But the mechanics look awesome. The graphics look awesome. A little bit cartoony. I'll give them that. Um, but as far as like the wind effects, the environment, and stuff like that looked awesome. The lighting was great. It looked like Forza. Not as good as Forza, but it looked like Forza. That's why I was saying, thinking, man, if Forza would have did something like that, they could have took it to the next level. But it looks amazing, and it's definitely a game that I'm definitely going to get, just because it's so over the top. You know. Um, but like to me, man, if Microsoft, if you since they're building this Game Pass ecosystem, an ecosystem within the ecosystem, and they need that content, man. This is definitely the game that they should look at. I mean, I think this is like this is Descenders is so huge on Game Pass right now. This is like Descenders times 1,000. It's like there's Descenders on steroids because you have people with flight suits. They have what is that? They have the BMX bikes, the flight suits, man. They got people snowboarding. It's crazy, man. It's got everything. Just think of extreme sports. It's got it all. Um, so yeah, continue with those third-party deals, Microsoft. So I think that's in your best interest, man, because they basically like set that foundation again with the idea of Xbox stuff with their own original IPs, and bringing in the third-party stuff, um, and working closely with the companies to get them to put their stuff in there, whether for a limited time or they leave it in there, working out the money and all that kind of stuff, just handling every aspect, and hopefully they continue to do that. I think they're going to need to. Like I said, I think, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out tomorrow and they're like, they were at 18 million, 20 something million, like last month. If they keep growing, man, they should be at like 30. That would be good news, man. But by the end of the year, man, I want them to be at 50. And people like will comment to me, why is that such a big thing to you guys? Like, dude, you're not benefiting if it's 50. Okay, if it hits 100 million, it's over. And what I mean over is like I did a video on my channel talking about market share, and it's beneficial for all of us who like Game Pass, right? Because it's going to allow Microsoft to grow these partnerships. It's going to allow Microsoft to get these studios. It's going to allow Microsoft to give these studios, whether partnership or studios they own, the resources they need to create the games that they want, and then create new experiences. It allow the studios not to make the games that they have to make, but the games that they want to make. And that's a big difference, man. People forget how the creative side of gaming, right? And pushing the envelope. Sometimes you have to do that, whether the game does good financially or just does good because it's critically acclaimed, because it's making money. As long as it's pushing the envelope, man, sometimes you need that because later on down the line, somebody will pick up on it and carry it over. And this is how the industry was built, man. Dude, we started off with freaking collapsing and space invaders. Never good. Just look at your history, dude. It's a constantly evolving thing, especially in this day and age with the technology. But yeah, again, for Bethesda, I'll go back to them really quickly. I want to see all their studios. I want to see their studios. I want to see them highlighted. Again, I don't care if they have gameplay. I don't care if it's just a video. I don't care if it's just an interview. This is the Xbox / Bethesda E3 2021. All everything that's within that umbrella should be shown tomorrow. Again, I won't be disappointed. Like I already know it's going to be there for the most part. I have a pretty good idea. Um, so I won't be disappointed. But just for me on principle, I think everybody should showcase. That's just the way I am. So surprises. Are there going to be any surprises tomorrow? It would be cool if there was. Right? Again, acquisitions and purchases would be cool. Um, there's talk about new hardware that Microsoft is developing. They could show something like that. And again, don't panic about this. Man, this is Microsoft. They're doing things. You know, they basically these systems are becoming like cell phones. Right? We've already talked about this. And right? But it would just be good to know. Um, and any more programs that they're going to be putting out. Any more programs as far as connecting. Okay, this. Like if you look at the Microsoft Store, right? Connecting the gaming with the entertainment. Um, Are they going to put out some production stuff, right? There's rumors about that. I don't put too much stack in that. But given what's happened this entire weekend with all this BS where people are becoming all-in-one conferences, basically stuff that Microsoft is doing. Because Microsoft read the tea leaves, man. One thing I hate about what people do is when they look at Microsoft back in 2013 and say they lost touch with their people. No, they didn't lose touch with their people. That's all the 360 was. You guys know as well as I do, man. I love the 360. Played a lot of my games on the 360. 360 became my console of choice after the Dreamcast died, right? And Microsoft became my company of choice after Sega passed away, as far as creating hardware, right? And then they went into publishing things. Um, you know, dude, the majority of the people are doing things. Either they're playing Call of Duty or watching content, right? So basically, in 2013, Microsoft just expanded on that, or Xbox just expanded on that. They're giving the people what they want, right? And it's somewhere in that conference, $590 or was it $499 was too expensive, right? But $399 was perfectly fine. $100 difference, right? And then the DRM crap came up, which all of this stuff is happening right now. In fact, everything that they got crap for in 2013 is happening right now, and nobody says anything except when they bring back what happened in 2013. They had like games day one, right? Nobody talked about those games. Right? Because there's a lot of hate, man, and the gaming media freaking jumped in all that crap. The gaming media is absolutely trash, dude. I've been watching them because, like I said, I've been trying to take all of this stuff in. And it's been a little bit easier to digest their crap, right? Because Microsoft is basically dominating, the headlines every day. They have to basically, like I said, they have to acknowledge it. They're forced to cover it, right? And then you see some of them changing, man. But these guys are actually garbage, dude. They totally are. And it was, this has been driving me nuts, man, because people, and then when they're talking about it, they have to, because Sony's kind of in that same boat where they need to turn the page, right? According to them, right? If there's anybody that's a reflection of what happened in 2013, it's actually Sony in 2021, currently, right now. Dude, they're not even at E3, man. I see like Sony guys talking trash, and it's so easy to shut them down. You just ask them, oh, okay, well, hopefully we'll have that. By the way, what's Sony's plans at their E3 conference? Oh, wait, they're not here. Right? I mean, dude, that's how ridiculous it is, dude. These guys aren't even at the E3 for whatever reason. And a lot of us know why. A lot of us know why they're not there. But do you hear these guys complaining about it? No. Right? And they make excuses for it. I know they'll have something down the line. They'll probably get the flute guy back. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I like that flute guy. That was pretty cool. That's probably the best thing about that conference. I just like the way it sounded. Um, yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. I've been running about an hour. I actually should have did this as a cast. Should do this on StreamYard. Hopefully this video will get put up, man, because I ran it really long. And I'm using the recorder off of, which is actually pretty good, I think. But sometimes when I try and transfer it over to YouTube, I have issues. So hopefully it'll copy over, man, and you guys get to see it. Yeah, but if you guys watch this video, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I wanted to put more content on my channel. I'll be doing more videos like this, definitely, because of what Xbox is doing. I got some stuff coming up where I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the market share topic. I wish I had, I might pick up StreamYard, but I've had issues with StreamYard because I'd like to actually show some supporting documentation when I talk about this kind of stuff. So I go into the weeds of this kind of thing. And I think it'd be better for presentations so that people can understand what I'm talking about when I say market share. Like I said in the video on my channel that talks about market share, um, this is why I think the race to 50 million subscribers by the end of the year is awesome. It would be awesome if they could do that, and then eventually 100 million. And then, of course, the sky's the limit once you hit 100 million subscribers, because that'll just open up all new possibilities. And, like, of course, when, a perfect example, right, when Microsoft went ahead and bought ZeniMax Online, and the amount that they put down to pick it up, right? And then people were sitting there talking about, well, and of course this is on the Sony side, right? Because the first thing that, the heart attack moment, because the first thing I looked at was like, oh, are we going to lose these games? And then the next thing that came out of their mouth was like, oh no, we can't. Microsoft can't make these things exclusive just to Xbox, because that's what they think about Xbox. They think Xbox is that low leader. And this is gaming media guys and of course fanboys on the Sony side. Um, but as I was listening to them, I was sitting there and listening to them, and I was like, yeah, but they have Game Pass. That was always in my mind. Okay? A lot of us have Netflix, right? Netflix started off really slow, and then it got bigger. Now it dominates everything. They have market share. Right? They have so much market share that they eclipse even Disney. With all the stuff that Disney has. Disney's been doing stupid stuff, I understand that. But still, Disney has 100 million views. And until they messed up with the Mandalorian, that whole, they got involved with politics and they started insulting their fan base, right? Not too good. That caused them to go backwards, and some people were like, "Oh, that didn't really hurt them." Yeah, dude, their momentum died, and then they lost people. So they're kind of stuck in this quagmire, which you never want to be, especially when your nearest competitor, man, is just killing you with over 70 million more subscribers. And you're already handicapped because you're Disney doing this, right? There's limited stuff that you can do. Netflix doesn't have that problem, as we can tell by the porn they put on their channel, right? Everything's ready and mature for some reason. Um, so Xbox getting that's my point. Xbox getting to that Netflix level. And for me, the golden number is 100 million. 50 million by the end of this year, or I'll take even 40 million. As long as you're growing, 50 million would be great. 100 million by the end of next year, and then keep that number going. And then that'll cause, when you have numbers like that, that means everybody's coming over. People have been talking about it right now. A lot of these PlayStation guys don't want to accept the simple fact that there's people on their side coming over, because what's happening to them with the PlayStation 5 is what happened to the 360 going into the Xbox One era. Right? Everybody jumps ship. And Microsoft found out really fast that they really don't have fans. Right? These are the normies. This is when the normies started invading pop culture. I know this because I follow pop culture. I'm talking about the entertainment, the music, comic books, animation, all that stuff. Dude, I grew up in this stuff. I grew up in this stuff, and this stuff was cool. And it's a great time to like this kind of stuff, man, because you have variety everywhere. But that's what Microsoft found out from the transition of 360 to the Xbox One. People just went over to PlayStation 5 because it was supposed to be the best console. More powerful console with all the best games, yada, yada, yada. That's PlayStation. That's why you have to get the PlayStation 4. And people bought into it, man. And then it also fit this other thing. That's why I did the narrative, the video on my channel talking about the AAA title thing needs to die, because it's saying the title's AAA is just like saying a movie's Oscar worthy. As soon as you hear those buzzwords, man, and if you're an investor in a studio or something like that, or you invested money into this product, and you hear that, dude, your wallet will feel right. That's the buzzword that you got to look for when people say that. And I want that narrative to die, because that narrative is absolutely BS. And I have nothing against AAA titles. I think they're important and everything to add them. Just to add, like how Phil to say, they're adding to their portfolio, that's great, right? But ultimately, it all ends up into the actual experience, man. It's what you're experiencing as a gamer. The actual playing of the game. That connection you need is actually the game itself, not all that other stuff. Not all the common circumstances. You can have it, it's fun to have it, trust me. I love pop culture stuff, right? But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, man, it's about engagement. Right? The E word, engagement. And Phil definitely knows that. To look at all the moves that he did. I just want that to disappear. I want everything from Microsoft. I want them to be the leader in this. Right? They deserve to be the leader because they work for it. But also they have the resources. They already have the knowledge base. Right? need to be retrained in this kind of stuff. If something goes wrong, they can deal with it because they've been doing it the longest. Right? And like they said, they have the resources to deal with it, or other people will not be, right? Because you want this thing to grow. Because this is a game changer, man, and they're on the cusp. And if there's anybody outside of Sega that's been pushing this industry forward and been on the cusp of doing great things, man, it's been Microsoft. And they don't get any credit for it, but go back and look at all the stuff that they've done. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have gaming as it is now. That's just the truth. Right? So they deserve to take lead on this. And they're the only ones that really trust to do that. Anyway, so yeah, man, hopefully, looking forward to it in a couple of hours, right? It's going to be time for the big show. I'm going to wrap this up. I want to get some sleep because I'm going to try and get up in the morning and watch it. I got my reminder on. I set my alarm. I got my keto coffee over there, right? I should probably stay up on Netflix, man. I'm watching some Korean dramas that are just awesome. And like I said, I'll be expanding my channel. Hopefully I'll get some better editing and stuff like that on here. Especially when we start doing this deep dives into kind of stuff. I'm kind of analytical by nature. So like the whole market share stuff, dude. I'm not, so for the next video I'll probably put it up next week. When I talk about the market share stuff, I'm talking about like not how Xbox is just affecting streaming services as far as gaming, right? Like, with Sony has PS Now and stuff like that. And that's something to track just within the game stuff itself, but look, time and money is limited for everybody. These subscription servers are a great answer to all the cable crap we got, that monopoly that cable companies had, constantly raising their prices, paying ridiculous amount for content that you don't even enjoy or watch. Where a lot of people just cut the cord because either they couldn't afford it or just felt like they were wasting their money. And then subscription services like Netflix came along, right, and filled that void for them. And then they tried to do the free stuff online. It's a constantly changing, evolving thing, right? But ultimately, even in that space, it all comes down to market share. How many subscribers do you have? How much engagement are you getting? How many hours are you watching? Right? And that's what Microsoft's going to be doing with Game Pass. Now, with that being said, the thing that's interesting to me, because if we're being honest, PS Now right now is not a good competitor to Game Pass. It could be if they tweak some stuff, but I don't think they will because there's only and it's their fans' fault too, because their fans don't say anything, don't tell someone what they really want. And then the ones that do tell them, they get ostracized, and then they come over to this side now, and then now they're doing Xbox channels. It's crazy. But if Game Pass could be so huge that it could affect not just the gaming arena when it comes to content, but also I could see them biting definitely into these smaller subscription servers on the entertainment side. Because basically it's video games and movies and music and comic books in general, that's all engagement, right? That's just somebody, especially when you're dealing in a pop culture realm, right? That's all about engagement. And again, time is limited and money is limited. Right? And just like gaming did to the industry as a whole, as the movie industry as a whole, right? And we're surpassing them. Like when I watch my kids now, they're constantly engaged in stuff that's not the stuff that I grew up doing. Right? So the gaming industry itself has to change, and Microsoft doing this, they're right. But then, if Microsoft does this, it'll be interesting to see how far-reaching. It's just like throwing a stone into it. How people say, you take a stone, you throw it into a pond, and then you see the ripple. Right? And it's just interesting to see how far that ripple goes. Right? Because in the short space where you drop the stone, that's the environment that Microsoft's in. So that's like your Nintendo, your Sony, your PC, Amazon, all that kind of stuff. Right? I guess that's the major. That's where you're gonna get the major ratings at first, but then it'll carry out, and then on the outer skirts of that, you got your Disney Pluses, your Netflix, your Paramount Plus, or whatever they're calling it, HBO Max, Discovery, WB, whatever that thing is, Hulu, all that stuff. Right? It'll be interesting to see how far-reaching Game Pass can be. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff that's interesting to me. So that's the kind of video that we put out. Anyway, I've been rambling on forever. It's been over an hour. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Hopefully you guys get excited, dude. Get pumped. If you're an Xbox guy like me, get pumped for this conference, dude. Dude, you're gonna see Master Chief, right? And you're definitely gonna see gameplay because they did gameplay the last time. Right? Just get excited, dude. Dude, I want to see that new Warthog, man. That thing looks awesome. And then I want to understand what the story is with this kind of stuff. Look, I'm reading like speculation and stuff like this, but we should be getting a little bit more solid evidence of what's going on with this game, right? Because the main drive for me was playing Halo. Halo 5 had an awesome multiplayer, man. I mean, it was amazing. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it was good. And even all the stuff that they added that you think that would be a distraction, it wasn't. Everything was perfect, smooth. You know, I fell off the gameplay now because I'm playing other stuff. Again, timing issue. But definitely one of the best multiplayers I've ever played. So I'm looking forward to see how the multiplayer is going to be on this one, especially with all the other stuff that the elements they're adding to what Microsoft's arsenal is for his abilities at least. Um, and if anybody can pull it off, man, 343, man, I've been really happy. I'm not 343. What's the 343? Ah, dude, I am tired of it. It's like almost midnight here. And I'm just ready to sleep. And you know, sad part, I only do things. Yeah, let's see what 343 can do. I've had no problems with it when I do. I had no problems with Spartan Locke. In fact, I loved him. So he's a great character, man. Love the actor, dude, especially when he went on to do Luke Cage. Oh, look, I'm not going to sit there and say everybody that didn't like him is a racist. I don't believe it's that deep. Right, but what I do believe is that, you know, people, look, dude, you're dealing with fandom, man. People, it's hard for people to change. So I know this. I'm a Marvel guy. I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around what the hell Disney and Marvel is doing right now with their characters and their universe. They spent like 10 years building this universe that I absolutely love. That was not complicated at all. Like, they kept it simple. Right? They gave everybody what they wanted. Right? They gave the mutants what they wanted. They created Marvel Cinematic Universe fans that are not technically Marvel fans, but they're fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They built all that, dude, and they got an old guy like me, jaded old guy. You know, this isn't Burns. This isn't Burns. This is Lee's vision, right? But they took what they were smart about. What they did is they took a lot of that stuff that made Marvel what it is, and they put it in there, even though they tweaked it. Um, but I don't know what they're doing now, so it's nuts. Anyway, I'm going off on a short tangent. But yeah, dude, be excited, dude. Enjoy tomorrow, man. You're going to be disappointed in some stuff. And other stuff, celebrate what you have and enjoy what you have and not so much what you don't have. Okay. But again, like I said, you're going to be seeing it. And man, please let us have favor. I want to see a favor thing so bad. And then let's see what kind of acquisitions they have, man. That's the thing. That's gotta be cool as well. Anyway, all in channel, man. We'll call it a day. But this is the all in channel. I am your host, Sega Forever, and we're out.